So now we're going to pause a little back on capacity management and going to refresh concept of the theory of constraints. So maybe you had the concept in other core operations management course. Maybe you have not. So let's take a look at that, or you don't remember, right? So let's go back to this problem. We went and did flow time analysis with this problem, which is the loan application process. But let's look at the in terms of capacity, right? So what is the theory of constraints, right? What is a bottleneck, right? So in a bottle, if you turn it upside down, the water will get out of the bottle, right? And will get out in the flow of the bottleneck, right? Which is constraining, limiting the amount of flow that gets out of that bottle, right? So think about the same logic of the theory of constraints is that you have a point in your production system, one of your process steps, that is going to constrain, that's going to limit how much you can produce, right? And that point, that activity, is called the bottleneck, right? So the first thing you need to do is identify the bottleneck, find out what is the process that have the lowest capacity, and actually the capacity of the whole system will be exactly the capacity of the bottleneck, of that lowest capacity in your system. Okay, especially when you're looking into a line process as the example that we're going to look at. Okay, so that's why the first thing you need to do is identify the bottleneck, right? So here we have a loan application that's done one every 15 minutes, one every 20 minutes. Here, two activities done in parallel. 15 minutes it takes here, 12 minutes it takes here, and 10 minutes it takes here, right? So which one has the uh, lowest capacity? Think about that. So I just copy now our problem in a piece of paper, right? To have the times here, and let's find out the capacity. So per hour, okay? So this could be one every 15 minutes, so it means 4 per hour, right? This is one every 20 minutes, so that's 3 per hour. Hope you can see. This is 15 minutes, that's 4 per hour. This is one every 12 minutes, so it is 5 per hour. And 10 minutes is going to be 6 per hour, right? Okay, so now it's easier to take a look and see which one is the bottleneck, right? So step 2 is the bottleneck because it only can produce 3 per hour, right? So that's the bottleneck. What is going to be the flow time? So the flow time, we know that's the time from the beginning to the end, right? And that's something that we already learned about. What we want to calculate is the capacity, right, of the whole system. So flow time doesn't care about bottleneck because it's just adding all the time that we have available. Now we're talking about bottleneck. We need to know which one is the slowest one. And the slowest one will be this one, right? Because the highest time and the lowest capacity. So the capacity of the process that we're going to look at when we're going to calculate the time for each resource, the resource that's going to be the bottleneck is the one that can produce the lowest amount. So we're going to have the capacity of each resource in the examples that we are going to do for capacity calculations, and the bottleneck, the slowest capacity, is the capacity of the overall system. Okay, and then you can think about, okay, how can I increase my capacity? Well, it doesn't make any sense to improve process 1, process 3, 4, or 5. If I put resource there, it's not going to increase the capacity of the whole system because this is still the bottleneck. What makes sense is maybe to put, 2 people here doing every 20 minutes. Then I have one every 10 minutes because it's 2 people doing every 20. So my capacity will increase, let's say, to 6 per hour, right? And if I do that, now this is not the bottleneck anymore. Now these two processes are the bottleneck. And I just increased the capacity from 3 per hour to 4 per hour, right? So that's how you think about increasing capacity and looking at the resources, right? So find out which one is the bottleneck and find out ways to break that bottleneck to, maybe put more resources, maybe take some tasks out of that resource and put in another resource that is not being used so that I will increase the capacity of the whole system. Okay, does that refresh your mind or kind of was enough to capture the concept of bottlenecks? Hope so.